guys? Welcome back to MLG Prizefights presented by BIC Flex4 Razors. We're going into game two after a very map-biased game one. I felt like with the high yields, it kind of made the game that way. And with that, it was an okay opening. I thought that the later portions of the game were the more interesting parts. But as we go into game two here on Cloud Kingdom, no high yields on this map. So let's see how it unfolds, Wolf.
Yep, let us see indeed. Of course, at the bottom left, we have Losira. At the top right, Ganzi. A little bit of trivia about Ganzi. He actually used to be on IM before he left and joined Slayers, and now, of course, he is on Complexity.
Yeah, not too many people actually know that. It seems like Slayers is kind of maybe a rite of passage for a lot of Korean players, because for a while there, they were trying to recruit everyone. Even DRG was pretty close to joining until he joined MVP. So very, very good team over there in Korea. And Ganzi, one of the best Terrans out there as well, just never really making a huge splash in any of the tournaments, but always consistent.
Yeah, always consistently good. He's always a big name. And I feel like you're right about Slayers kind of being like a rite of passage for some players. The amount of prestige that Slayers really generate, especially when they first came out, Boxer leading the team, is something that a lot of players really, really wanted. And so they were able to get quite a big number of good players. And then for a while, since, like you said, Slayers was kind of after everybody, a lot of players left, for example, other teams like Zenex, and joined their team, so you kind of had that in flux. But overall, Slayers are a pretty good team, but these days, Ganzi deciding to play for a foreign team, play under the Complexity flag. And who knows what would have happened if Ganzi stayed with IM this whole time. He could have developed to be a completely different player.
Now, I love what Ganzi actually just did to Losira. He kept his racks hidden, and because of that, I think Losira was a little bit fearful of maybe a proxy rack or something like that. Oh, and he actually gets both gas down before Losira can steal it with his drone. Ganzi really pulling out all the stops here, making sure that Losira cannot get any, not even an inch ahead of him.
Yeah, he really wanted that drone. Worth it to him to block or stop the gas block as well. So he has super fast gases now, so he can go for reactor Hellions very soon. At this point in time, Ganzi he's down a game, and I think he's going to play this one really, really straight up. This is a good map for Terran if you can hold your third base, and he is just not going to cut any corners. Look at him getting that bunker down right at the perfect location. He's already even working on the neutral depot so he can make his own depot there and raise it. This looks like a very practiced build that he's doing right now.
So while we're seeing like a normal game without any high yield in it, I want to touch on TVZ right now. A lot of people are just, well, I'll just be honest. Everyone is saying that it is a incredibly Zerg-biased matchup at the moment. Over in Korea, are we seeing any new builds or any new strategies come out of the Terran players?
I would highly recommend watching Bomber's TVZ recently. He has been doing a lot of Marine shenanigans where he hides additional barracks or goes back to an older style where he 2-racks into 4 barracks. And he 2-racks puts a little bit of pressure on with it, expands behind it, then goes up to 4 barracks and just puts Marine pressure on, forces Spine Crawlers, makes it so the Queens can't be as active as open on the map. Without Zergling speed, a lot of Marines can do a lot of damage with good micro. And that's something that we've seen Bomber kind of go back to a little bit, and I really like that. But that's the only thing I've really seen. I do remember seeing once a player completely skip Reactor for his Hellions, use the Reactor on his barracks only, and then just produce siege tanks quickly afterwards. With buffering up his Marine count as soon as possible using that same Reactor. Just making a tech lab with the factory once the factory is done. That's something I've seen a few players do in Korea as well.
Yeah, I know personally as a caster, I am pretty excited to see the matchup change finally, where it's not just going to be, all right, he's going to open up with reactored Hellions, the Zerg's going to defend. It was so stagnant there in almost every matchup we saw in the opening of it. So I kind of welcome this, although it's a little bit of a rough period right now for Terrans. Eventually, whether it's going to be by Blizzard patching it or by Terrans just kind of figuring it out, the matchup will most definitely change.
Yeah, I was discussing with Calver today about the Queen change versus and the Overlord change, and he strongly feels that that Blizzard will change it. He's not even 100% decided if he thinks that it's overpowered, for example, but he thinks that Blizzard will change it. Wow, and SCB, I mean, Zergling, by the way, got in and saw everything in the main base.
Yeah.
But I think personally that they will not change it. I think they're just going to wait until Heart of the Swarm, and I think that's, in my opinion, the best course of options.
Well, here is that basically the build that Terrans are really crying about. The 6 queen opening. You're going to see creep spread like no other. Well, actually, like every other TVZ, to be honest.
Yeah.
Here, and it gets really, really out of control very, very quickly. A Banshee's now coming in for Ganzi over at the natural. There's going to be a queen to deflect it as Cloak finishes. And with that, the Spore Crawler might be focused down, although he could just go for drones primarily right now. Already up to 4 kills. And there is some time. He might be able to get up to a total of 10 if he's going to micro away here. And no, he does actually just leave at 7.
Yep, gonna leave at 7. Ganji is so focused on his Banshee, his upgrades were significantly delayed. And he's actually trapped 2 SCVs in his main base in between those engineering bays and the command center. I hate when that happens. If this ever happens in Protoss, when you have a bad rally like that, you actually just can't do anything about it because you can't fly your buildings. It's so frustrating. But yeah, he will eventually notice, and he's going to move his command center soon anyways, so not going to be too big of a deal.
You see the Lings are coming in for Losira. They're going to want to check to see if a third is down, and most likely will just return home right after that. Dipping into the natural, though, just to see, well, actually, he caught in a pretty good position here with those 2 depots down, but the depot does go up at the ramp, and he's going to deny some units here, taking out 1 of the supply depots, and might even be able to take down this wall.
Yeah, he's starting to work on it a little bit. This is very frustrating for Ganji to deal with. He has to put all his Banshees back, and he looks like he will get maybe 2 depots. Yeah, he'll get 2.
But not too much loss there. Really was just a wall. Ganzi had enough depots that it didn't really matter too much. Creep spread already almost at the center of the map. 3 bases up and running. Only mining gas from 2. I think he just actually started mining from the natural as well. And in terms of tech, still, we're actually not on lair tech. I would have expected to see a lair by now, but looks like he's very confident just going for this heavy Ling style.
Yep, and there's the lair, as you say that. He's just now getting it. You're right, heavy Ling style. And his upgrades are really late. His upgrades are just now being started +1 for his Lings. No Carapace upgrade. Ganji already on 1-1. He's got the armory up as well. He could start 2-2. Ganji has the tendency, though, to get his upgrades really late after he has the opportunity to get them. His early run by is completely shut down, but he's morphing Banelings here, and he's got a good position on the 3rd base. This is a little bit awkward for Ganji.
Yeah, those SCVs are having to fall back. Only 4 Lings, though. Siege mode not done, actually, just starting. And it looks like, oh no, those SCVs are caught off guard. The Banelings looking like they want to take them down and not the wall. What do you think about that choice? I mean, he only had those 3 depots there. Would 4 Banelings have been enough and worth his while to do that?
Yeah, I think so. Going for the SCVs instead, I think he thought there were more stacked in there than there were. Yeah. There were not as many SCVs there. There were only about 9. I actually checked, and in total, workers killed for Losira are 13, so he definitely could have killed the depots, which would have supply blocked Ganji. Then he would have had an entry point into killing the Marines at the natural, as well as some more SCVs. Could have followed things up, but as it stands, it was still really good for him. It was like, well, it was really good, but it wasn't really good, so I guess it's okay.
He's going up to 5 hatcheries right now on 3 bases as Ganji is actually pushing across the map. Another Ling run by now. Looking like it's going to happen going into the 3rd. There's only 4 Marines in place. Ganji, though, is setting up for a nice attack on the 3rd of Losira. However, these SCVs and mules are just getting obliterated over at the 3rd base. He's even forced to lift that orbital, but now Ganji is going in as he needs to lift up those 2 depots at his natural. But wow, that attack that was just crushed right there.
That was actually Losira. That was destroyed, but the Banelings are being spotted by the Banshee on the high ground, and the low ground Marines actually kind of turned a bad situation into a good one. And these Banshees actually have a total of almost 70 kills now between the 2 of them. It's absolutely insane. About 68 or so now. Is killing some more drones. And they're doing so much damage to Losira. In total, the worker count now 76 to 52 in Losira's favor. But the Banshees, they are really paying for themselves here, damaging that extractor a little bit. Meanwhile, drop in the main does get shut down.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, the game, Losira is still economically in the lead after denying the third of Ganzi for so long. And these Lings of Losira, man, he just makes so many of them now. Going for, once again, another attack here at the third, but it looks like these 1-1 Marines are just too strong for Losira to deal with at this point. He has to fall back.
Yeah, he is on his way back. He's trying to morph Banelings here, but Ganji's not stopping the attack. This is actually really nice by him. I love this aggression. This is the type of Terran play I think that we are going to be seeing in the future. This is like some of the best Terran play in the world, looks like, is when you just continue to attack. There's a level of confidence where he knows he's able to predict his opponent's every move without even seeing it at all. Really like to see that. And Losira now trying to go for yet another run by, but this time his opponent has a lot of Marines with medevac support back at home.
Yep, and those Lings are going to get trapped now by Ganzi, and that is how you kill Lings very, very quickly. He burrows at the last second, and looks like Ganzi does not want to waste a scan here. Very, very impressed, though, like you were actually mentioning, by Ganzi right now. It's just being so aggressive, and with that, Losira is now starting to take the map, and I think what he's doing with those Lings is basically keeping his opponent on his side of the map while he takes the remaining expansions here, but still just now finishing that Spire. He's been very low tech thus far in the game.
And Losira has gone up to 96 drones. That means half of his supply is going to be in those workers, so his opponent's army size is going to be consistently bigger than his. In fact, right now he's up 30 supply in army, and Ganzi may be able to really use that to his advantage. Looks like he's completely out of position for another Ling run by. Oh, this is not good. He actually stimmed his Marines. I don't know where they were running to. He stimmed all his Marines as natural for some reason, but his SCVs do barely escape.
And this is looking like deja vu somewhat here, as Ganzi gets his third denied, but he's going to push forward once more. And this attack might be even more devastating. 2-2 on those Marines. Does have a couple of siege tanks in there. We'll see if he can not get attacked in a giant clump, as there are a lot of Banelings here as he's pushing forward with a small Marine force. Sees those Banelings and falls back. What are these Banelings doing up against the wall? He's losing so many of those to the siege tanks, and here comes the entire force of Losira. But great control. I'm not sure. Well, he cleans it up. That small force is not going to be able to push forward.
He will be able to potentially get this hatchery still if he actually drops down into the low ground. He stims here. Siege tank actually doing a great trade. And he actually will just drop on the low ground and likely kill his hatchery, depending on how quickly Losira reacts. Great positioning on the Lings, though, denying the Marines. And yeah, the Marines are in a great position to stop the Lings from killing them, but will he actually be able to get this hatchery?
Oh,
this is actually insane.
Yeah, he has a huge force here coming across. The macro of Ganzi is just insane right now, especially for only being on like 2.5 bases, taking out that base of Losira. He's basically got a huge force here once again as the Lings run into the third. He only has a handful of Marines, and he's not going to be able to clean that up. The wall actually over at the natural is not complete, and those Lings are going to deal a lot more damage than I think Losira was actually anticipating them on doing. Losira now cleaning up a small forward Marine push here, but this is looking very interesting right now. Ganzi is a perfect position.
Yeah, and honestly, I think this game, I mean, Losira did run by how many times? Maybe 8, it feels like. And none of them were as effective as he wanted them to be. And Ganzi in a really solid position here. He's got 3-3 finishing just now against Losira's 2-2. Losira's Baneling's not really able to connect as well as he wants him to. Remember, a lot of Losira's supply is in those drones, and those Baneling hits could have been so much better. Ganzi remains alive here. He's not stopping the push.
Yeah, and he actually has a huge amount of Marines now rallying across. But the Lings here, we need to look at the units lost.
Yeah, that's
right
what I
now.
was about to mention.
That is going to be an insane number.
6,000 resources more lost is how many Lings he's lost. 581 units in total. And that's actually about to be triple his opponent's units lost.
Yeah, but with the upgrades now at 3-3, I'm getting a little bit worried for Losira now, as he's definitely going to lose this base. Can he keep this up? As he's only mining on 2 bases right now. However, Ganzi's still not mining from his third. He's long distance mining at this point. And he's always having to keep some units back at home, so his army is never really at full potential.
Yeah, if he kind of gets his whole army together for a minute and goes for a big attack, yeah, he's a little bit vulnerable to counterattacks. I'm a little surprised he doesn't just make a bunker at his third at least when he moves out and move out a little bit stronger. That way he can't be counterattacked very easily. He still hasn't dealt with that Zergling at his third base, so his command center is a little bit awkwardly positioned. He actually just dropped all his mules too, so he's not going to be able to do that. But Ganji, it wasn't a great position, but he let himself not mine from that third base for so long that Losira was able to catch up in production. He's got so many harvesters. Losira's taking that base at 9 o'clock right now as well. And at this point, yeah, Ganji is down in supply, but he still has a great army. And this game is pretty hard to say who's ahead. As far as upgrades go, though, Ganji still has the advantage. +2 on his tanks, 3-3 on his Marines. Great position at the south here.
Positionally, Ganji is always on top of things. For probably the past 10 minutes, he's had the best position here at the very southern middle of the map. But now we see Losira actually taking the 9 o'clock and once again pushing forward with these Lings. It is quite remarkable that this entire game has been based around Ling play. He's had a Spire for probably 8-9 minutes now and hasn't created a single Mutalisk, just relying on Banelings and Lings.
Yeah, and I like that choice. Making Mutalisk in this case.
Wolf.
Oh my god.
This is scary. Wasn't that good, but still.
Well, it was really scary for sure, and so are the rest of these Banelings, but nice control by Ganji. Well done. Cleans up the Lings as well. He's taking a supply lead here. He's still got the better upgrades. And I think if Ganji decides to push out, and as soon as he feels comfortable, because his opponent has Ling run by him probably about 20 times this game, he just makes a bunker, then moves out. I think he's going to feel pretty comfortable there. And he may just end this game if he does so.
Yeah, there was some more Banelings burrowed here at the top of the ramp, but Losira was not either paying attention or just missed it for whatever reason. Bunch more Lings now going into the fourth of Ganzi, but here comes a ton of Marines and some tanks. They should be able to stop this pretty soon. The drop is now north of this base of Losira. He has so many drones mining from here. Drone count still at 74. And wow, Ganji is using a spider sensor, maybe whatever Wolf was using earlier, and just gets away from those Banelings, not moving forward on him just yet.
Yeah, wow. Oh, that was really stressful, but did not quite get that. Ganji up 20 supply right now, and he just keeps doing these either small, slow pushes or surgical strikes. He's never actually bringing his entire army. I really strongly feel that if he did, he could just win a fight, but he's so scared of his opponent's Zergling count. He's like, well, if I move out one time with my whole army and lose it, I guess I lose the game. But, I mean, I think he could be a little bit more aggressive here. And again, no bunker at the third, and I guess this is run by number 8,000 coming in. It's actually going to go to the fourth.
And right now, there's Lings kind of everywhere in Ganji's base. These are like the biggest teased Banelings I've ever seen, man. This is making me really, really annoyed right now that the Banelings haven't taken anything. But here comes Losira actually pushing forward against this small contain from Ganji. And he's going to clean that up very, very easily. But now some more Marines trickle in. It looks like there is going to be enough Banelings to be able to deal with these Marines. And I think that might seal the game. Well, I'm not so sure, actually. Now there's a bunch of Marines left. This is very back and forth. What do you think right now, Wolf?
Well, Losira just doesn't have any real army left, and his upgrades are too low. He's losing too many drones, and this game may just end. I mean, he doesn't have it. And look at his gas. He has 5,000 gas. He never moved out of Ling Baneling. He never teched to Infestors, which has been really useful. Never got any additional bases. He never retook the bottom right. There was that one drop that was underneath the mineral line that just stayed there the whole time. He never even made a hatchery there. His upgrades were behind. He didn't use his gas well. Not very cost efficient at all. I mean, we saw the units lost. I'm going to take a look at it right now. It's 19,000 for Ganji, 32,000 for Losira.
Almost 1,000 units lost. That might be the highest for a Zerg player that I think I've seen in a competitive game. Regardless, though, like you mentioned, 4.7 thousand gas remaining there at the end of the game. Losira just very reluctant to go past that opening tech. And as we move on to game 3, we're tied up here. We'll see who takes it. We'll see you guys, actually, right after this break. We'll see you then.